Cody has mulliganed. I don't know how far he mulliganed down, though.
Mike made a sad face on camera,
I saw that.
mocking the dismay of Cody, presumably.
Oh, I agree.
And Cody just forced pass. That's if he's playing mono green aggro.
Not good.
Not a great start.
No, not in the slightest. Mike, on the other hand, has his ideal turn one of, land in a noble hierarch.
Yeah.
Pretty good turn there for Mike.
So we're hearing that Cody mulligan down to 5.
All right, so yeah, pretty big mulligan here. It's a little. It unfortunately has this. Wow. Okay, and okay.
That Mausoleum Wanderer
It's gonna hit hard.
That's gonna be a 4/4.
That's gonna
minimum.
be a beater. Mono green not so good at killing off multiple creatures like this. It turns out either. So. Maybe okay. He has only one we think he is. Okay, never
he's
mind.
on the ramp version.
I am mistaken. So yes, this is a top 8 gaming favorite for sure.
Certainly is.
Yeah, for sure.
We here at Top 8 love green.
Well, let's not lump us all together now. So there we see a Drogskull Captain. That's going to be that's going to be a big attack. That's a big old Mausoleum Wanderer coming across. We've seen Drogskull happen before.
Phantasmal image copying Drogskull Captain. This Mausoleum Wanderer is getting out of hand.
So let's see. He gets +4 from the captains because of its a trigger. So that's going to be
8.
5. Yeah, it's an 8/8 Mausoleum Wanderer. Just try and play a spell this turn, Cody. And it's his sorcery.
Oh, he's tapped out, so that'll be impressive.
So probably not going to be. Yeah, but be impressive. Yeah. So we'll see. Yeah, that's an attack for 8 here. That's pretty good.
Cody down to 12 off the back of one Mausoleum Wanderer attack. Not often you see that.
No.
No,
rarity. That's not typical. No.
No pump spells required either.
Yeah, that's just I'm going to play 2 spirits and 12 you. Or 8 you, rather. Cody, Genesis waving here for 3?
I mean, he hit.
Yeah. So this is the basically the entire point of this deck. Genesis Wave, which we'll pull up here if I can spell Genesis correctly. There we have it on screen. 3 green and X, reveal the top X cards of your library. You get to put any permanent cards with mana cost of X or less onto the battlefield this way. The rest of them go to the graveyard. So he got 2 hits out of it. Did we see? What did he reveal to the Oath?
A Birds of Paradise.
Oh,
I don't think it's going to matter.
Not the best thing, no. Oh my. Okay.
Is this attack more than the noble? Yeah, it would be. Okay.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's got 3 attackers coming in, but
Cody's showing him.
He would have had Hornet Queen next turn.
Yeah.
So a very quick game 1 again. Going over to Mike. I mean, that's what happens when you have 4 lords in play.
Noble Hierarch almost a pseudo lord in 1 turn.
1 turn there, yeah.
+1/+1.
Absolutely, there's 3 of them. Yeah, so that was lord effect for sure.
Noble Hierarch just pitching in to help the team.
4 at the end of turn. So each of the lords are getting +3, so those are 5s. And the
Mausoleum Wanderers are 5 as well, plus 2 triggers, so 7.
So I'm coming in for
Hitting for
17 on
17.
turn 4.
Yeah.
It's decent.
Spirits is weird because it doesn't play like an aggro deck, but it's very capable of just killing you on turn like 3 or 4 like that. I mean, obviously 3 Noble Hierarchs against a mulligan to 5.
It's not fair.
Yeah, the flyer is just against mono green. The flyer is very hard to deal with as well. That doesn't change the fact that hand was very powerful and put on a lot of pressure very early.
Yeah.
And I think that's why some people have identified Banned Spirits as an actual contender in the modern format moving forward.
Sure.
It gets to play a little bit of control without having to play like actual bad counterspells. Because a lot of people's complaints about modern control decks are that the counterspells are pretty soft. There's not a lot of good ones, and the ones that are good they cost a lot.
Yeah.
Remain's not good in a straight control deck. You want that in a tempo deck. I mean, Remand hasn't really been great since Twin left. So
sure.
To see Spirits get to play kind of a tempo-y game, have a little bit of the control element, and beat down, it does remind me a little bit of Twin, and it's nice to see that there's a deck like that still in Modern. Definitely plays different. There's no auto win.
You picking up Spirits? Is that what you're saying?
I think I will, yeah. And I think I will tonight, in fact.
Are you following the channel? 10% off, sir, if you want.
I'm going to follow right now.
Good call.
I'm gonna create a new account.
Please don't do that. All right, so shuffling up for game 2 here. I'm not entirely sure what Cody has in his sideboard for spirits.
You would have to imagine that, given how well Mike's been performing with the deck, and that the deck is kind of just on the radar now in Modern, there's got to be something.
Cody
because
hasn't played Modern for weeks, though. Is the other thing, though.
I would guess that Green, even before Spirits, had sideboard for Flyers, because that deck just really doesn't do well against low-cost Flyers, and Affinity's a deck, and, it needs to be able to deal with Ink Moth Nexus in specific ways.
Sure.
So my guess would be that there's at least some number of dismembers. The Hornet Queen's very good if you get to it. I'm not sure if they're playing like cards like Aerial Volley, stuff like that.
No. Can't imagine that would be.
Although it would be good here.
Here, sure. Sure.
For Mike, I don't know even what he boards in. This matchup seems insanely good for him. The Flyers put on a fast clock. He can threaten Planeswalkers with little to no repercussions, and Collected Company just can't be dealt with by Green in any
capacity.
Good way.
Yeah.
So.
No. Mono Green been a deck here for a long time at the top 8 game here. So,
and it's had its ebbs and flows.
Yeah.
There have been a few metagame snapshots, for weeks at a time where
it's just as strong.
It's very strong. It was actually the whole reason the deck got put together was because they felt it had a decent Eldrazi matchup. And it just kind of, after Eldrazi left, the same decks that were like kind of strong against Eldrazi, obviously not as good, were around, Affinity and stuff like that. And I feel like they felt like they had a very strong matchup there too.
I'm curious if Cody, Mike is siding out Coco. We've been told. Collected Company, not a card Mike wants access to this game. Sure, why not? Maybe trying to give Cody a chance, maybe.
That can't be right.
In any way.
I don't know that there's a single matchup you ever sideboard that card out.
No, I don't think so.
Your deck
it's like Treasure Cruise in the sideboard. It just doesn't belong there.
Yeah, your deck is literally built around that card.
Yeah.
Like you don't run some number of 4-drops presumably that you might be interested in playing because of that.
We believe you, Martin. We do believe you.
Our spotter is reassuring us that
he's
this
adamant
is actually what happened, and I believe him.
He's adamant that Mike has indeed boarded it out.
And to be fair, Mike has more experience with the deck than either of us. But I just can't imagine a situation, and we were just talking about how Collected Company, there's just nothing Green can do about that.
Sure.
I don't see why you wouldn't want that card in your deck. Maybe he doesn't want to dilute. Well, no, like if you didn't want to dilute your creature count, it would be because
we know he's wrong. It's fine. We know it's wrong.
Okay.
I think he's giving Cody a chance. What he's doing.
That's very nice of him.
Yeah, I agree.
I wonder if he boarded out his Drog Skull captains as well, just in case.
Just to be safe. So Mike, starting here a little bit slower than last time, doesn't have his turn 1 hierarch, has instead a tapped breeding pool. Followed that up with a Windsor Teeth into Plains, whereas Cody started with his turn 1 accelerant of Arbor Elf and curved that nicely into a turn 2 Courser of Kruthix.
Showing Nykthos on top, very crucially.
Yeah, and Nykthos, another big contender in this deck. We'll pull it up on screen. The legendary Devotion Land.
Yes.
So Mike says, I want one of those too.
Yeah, I would like a Courser.
As a Geist. All right.
Now, see, this is... I don't know if you want Coco's out before you want Geists out. The ground is gummed up.
Yeah, no,
That's just how this works. There's a sudden shock.
Cody did bring in his sudden shock. That is going to be able to deal with that phantasmal image nicely.
Chick is up.
Yeah. Cody has pretty well the same sideboard, I think, as Jesse.
I would assume so. Like everybody in top 8 who plays this kind of mono green deck, they've kind of...
We call it Tim's.
Yeah, the mono Tim's. Devotion. They kind of collaborate. It's not really one person's specific effort. Tim is definitely the guy who really built it from the ground up, but ever since then it's been almost like a cabal of people.
Let's point out that I'm the one that played it first.
Just devoted.
Just for the record.
There's a bunch of players devoted to playing the green deck. But this is what I was saying, and Mike has a very awkward start that just doesn't feel like it's particularly great, but you'll notice that Cody just literally has no way to interact with flyers still.
No.
So had Mike had a decent start again, this game would be looking like there was a lot of pressure on Cody to present an answer. Now the texture of this game means that Mike kept a slow hand, not sure what he has in there that he felt like was really worth keeping.
Sure.
I imagine we'll see it now. The deck stops at 3 essentially, especially if you board out Coco's.
I mean, it could be something as simple as just the Geist here. We know he has the Geist draft in his hand.
Yeah,
it doesn't seem good.
Yeah, it's very, very bad in this situation.
He is playing things like Steel of the Godhead, so that could be different. Well, okay, actually, I spoke to you soon. That Sudden Shock's not going to do anything right now. It's got no red mana.
Yeah.
He's just got a lot of green or blue, and some more green, in fact.
I don't think that it needs to do anything right now at all either. It just feels like Cody's super far ahead.
Cody falls to 17, back up to 18 thanks to that Courser trigger.
Presumably,
the red mana next turn.
Mike is leaving up Spell Queller here. But given that Cody has ramp available, there's every indication that he might not be able to Spell Queller whatever he wants to do right now.
Yeah, I mean, Cody representing at the moment, what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 mana?
Looks like that's right. I honestly, with these mono green decks, I check out whenever anyone's trying to do the mana math. I just trust them. You know what? Like, if you're coming to top 8, these green players, they're not trying to cheat you. They love their deck. They know how to do it. I trust them.
Sure.
And it's just a pain, honestly. Like, I don't know what the appeal of counting up my lands over and over again is. It's just not something I'm interested in.
So he could have something like Hornet Queen here, because I'm pretty sure she just costs 7. But in comes the Courser of Crewfix. Mike's just going to go ahead and take that 2 damage, evening things up at 18. Cody doing some math, it looks like, here himself.
Yeah, I don't know.
Just trying to do the math of the mana there.
Yeah, I just gave up,
Courser's
though.
got double green. Arbor Elves are 1 each.
Yep, so it's 4
Nick
devotion.
is going to be 4. That's 3 lands taken out of the equation. Tap the Forest. Tap both Arbor Elves. That's another 3 mana total.
Okay.
So that's 7. I know you're a journalist. It's okay, but... Okay.
Yeah, this is... And nothing end of turn from Mike. So... I think you just played a Geist.
He might have been holding a Spell Queller.
I agree,
that's
but I
my
think
idea.
in that situation, given the amount of mana Cody is presenting, you just played the Geist there.
Yeah. And Cody, knowing about Spell Queller potentially just deciding I won't play into it.
Yeah, I mean, he has a number of threats that Spell Queller can't stop, and he's not being hampered particularly in his mana development, so I don't see any reason why he needs to jam spells out there. Mind you, it'll be interesting to see if Mike's willing to Spell Queller Utopia Sprawl this turn, because it does give him red mana, and it'll take the only clock Mike actually has off the board.
Yeah, it's potential.
There's a Garrick.
That's another
Well,
Spell
it
Queller
does
target.
change. Yeah, it does change how you feel about how you're going to use your Spell Queller, I imagine.
Yeah. Yeah, Garrick. Garrick is probably one of the, I would say, least seen planeswalkers.
And
more
you can say quite broadly, all of them are least seen, so it doesn't really matter which one we're talking about.
Garrick.
I believe it's no comma.
Oh, really? Just straight up Wild Speaker. So it is. There he is on screen.
I'm really ashamed that I knew that.
I'm ashamed for you.
Yeah. And here's the thing: Cody's tapping a ton of mana this turn, so whatever's coming down
is not getting Spell Quellered.
Yeah, it's a Genesis Wave probably, and now the Spell Queller looks kind of embarrassing.
Yep.
Is Genesis Wave put into play or cast?
Put into play.
This Spell Queller is super embarrassing.
Yep.
Spell Queller does nothing at all.
Yep.
Ooh, Thragtusk.
Bring in the
That one's
swag.
good. Nykthos, Courser, Thragtusk, Arbor Elf, Double Wooded, all hits. Just everything.
Oh, he did it for what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
7, I believe.
He did it for 8.
8? 1, 2, 3,
Oh, no,
4,
7.
5,
7,
6.
right, sorry.
Yeah.
7.
Interesting, though, because 8 is the number you kind of want to do it for.
8 is the number
it hits
you
the
want.
Crater Hoof.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
Cody's-
this deck does play Crater Hoof.
It's a 1 of in the deck, so. I mean, this isn't a bad one.
I mean,
I'm not upset if I'm Cody.
if we have 100% confirmed Mike has sided out his Cocos, I would scoop here. You
Yeah.
need to be able to be playing multiple creatures at this point to keep up with a board like this. And if he has sided out the ability to do that,
Sure.
then I assume... And Cody's stacking his triggers correctly so that,
Yeah, he's going to 28 here off of these triggers, so.
These coursers doing a lot of work. 28 and just a phantasmal courser to try and stop the bleeding.
Yeah, it's not what you want. And we're gonna devote again. If he has another Genesis Wave in his deck, oh boy.
Dear Lord.
If he does, it's game. I'm pretty sure.
To be honest,
Garrick
this is
taking
game.
down here. Yeah, it's game. He has the wave in his hand. I'm pretty sure, right?
If he has the wave, even if he doesn't have the wave, what's Mike gonna do here?
Well, he's devoting here for what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, I believe.
It's like a decent amount of mana, yeah.
8, 9. Yeah, he's devoting for 11.
If there's another wave, it's over.
He'll get to wave for 8 on its own.
He has an eternal
Okay, so
witness
that's-
to get back the wave,
Okay, but he only has 8 mana left, so he can only wave for 5 here.
which he's not gonna do with seeing a Crater Hoof on top.
Or we're wrong. I mean, unless I have my math wrong here, but I'm fairly certain it's only for 5.
Maybe he's just not interested. No, there's a sudden shock.
I'm wrong.
Yeah, this is not for. Oh, okay.
Gen for 16? How did he get that much mana?
I
mean, it's game over.
The one Nykthos came into play.
But he used
Untapped.
He used the first Nykthos, right?
Yeah.
20. Oh, sorry. Yeah, he used it. He used it, floated the mana. Garrick untapped it, used it again.
Yeah,
That's what I
there you go.
missed. Yeah.
Yeah. This is what I'm talking about. I just trust him.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's
22
good.
mana.
Good
Sure.
call,
Do what
good
you
call.
want.
Cody runs away with that game pretty quickly.
Typically, the way this devolves for me is that I will look at my opponent once they have played Genesis Wave, and I will very calmly ask, "Am I dead?" And if
Yeah.
they tell me I am, I will scoop. I just
Yeah.
believe them. In F&M Modern, where all of our green players are very honest folk who just want to play honest Magic. You know, they're not trying to do
Yeah.
anything sneaky. They're not trying to be, you know, like they're not trying to control you. Apparently, Mike sided in Wrath is the reasoning. I still don't. Yeah, I
don't
get
like
it.
Coco's coming out.
Yeah, I'm not
in any sense.
not a fan. Not a fan of that.
Yeah, Cocos are just good in every way.
See, if you want to Wrath aboard, what better way to rebuild than playing a Coco after?
Yeah.
And it's not like you're not playing your threats before. You're not like, oh, this Wrath's going to be really good. I'm just going to sit on my rattle chains and stuff, and these guys aren't going to beat down. I'm just going to, I'll wait.
Yeah, I know you're not really making that call. That seems a little wrong, however you want to say it, I guess.
I'm assuming that Wrath is like a 1 or a 2 of, so I don't
Yeah.
think you bring out the Cocos at that point.
I think Wrath's okay. I'm sure how good that is in this
I'm
matchup.
fine. I'm fine bringing it in, but I will
Yeah.
agree that, and this is something that people who are unfamiliar with the green deck won't realize, because when I first played against it, I thought cards like Anger and Wrath were amazing against it. Sometimes they have draws where it's Utopia Sprawl into Fertile Ground,
Into Garrick.
and then suddenly your Wrath does literally nothing. Like
Yep.
there's just never going to be a good time to play it. They have all the mana in the world, and by the time
don't need a
Wrath
creature
is
for it.
online, they're Ewit looping you.
Yeah. One of the big draws to this deck that the players typically go for is the Ewit loop
Yeah.
with Primal Command. If we get to see it here, we'll bring it up on screen.
Hopefully it's something that he's able to demonstrate. That's one of
Yeah.
the things that made me think the deck had legs. I thought it was just a Genesis Wave deck, and I thought it wasn't super well positioned, but then I got Ewit locked, and I
you
started to
realize
think,
quickly
yeah,
how bad that turns. How bad that
started to
feels.
realize that Primal Command is really hard to beat when they're casting it literally every turn for the rest of the game, at
Sometimes-
least for as long
sometimes
as the
twice
game
in a
goes.
turn, even.
Yeah.
Yeah. So off we go. Cody has a turn 1 fetch land.
Mike again, no turn 1 play.
I believe Cody falling to 18. Mike going to be at 20 here. We're likely going to 19 pretty soon. Or sorry, 17.
Harbor
even.
Elf here.
Yeah, 17 even.
I
And yeah, there's
believe-
the Arbor Elf. Mike down to 19 with
I
his fetch
believe
land.
Mike has left in Path Exile. That would be the one that this again speaks. It tells me that I think he's pretty inexperienced in this matchup.
If that's the case, though, is this not what you want to path?
But this is what I'm saying.
Well, maybe not. I guess it's a
I don't
worse thing.
think you want to path it, but
Yeah.
like this is the target. Like what else are you gonna path?
What's your next target?
Your
right?
next target's
So,
something at 5 or 7 mana, and if they're casting those, you're in a lot of trouble.
Curve into Courser again, but that doesn't seem great.
I
so
suppose.
I don't-
But
I
then
don't like-
again, Path just ramps them, and this is what I was saying. I think it speaks to not Mike sideboarding incorrectly in his mind. He's identifying this as a ramp matchup with creatures, but the way this matchup plays out is that the creatures that they play early, you don't want to path, and then the creatures they play late have value already, and the path doesn't do enough to get you back in the game.
Sure.
I think bringing the Wrath in is fine if you want to get rid of the bigger creatures later, but leaving path in, giving them lands, it can be really awkward sometimes. I don't know. Sometimes they're going to start, like we said, on enchantments where the path just sits there. It is kind of an awkward situation. I mean, Wrath and Path don't necessarily, despite their rhyming, necessarily actually do a whole lot in this matchup.
So there we see Overgrowth being cast by Cody. We'll pull that one up.
That's the one, not Fertile Ground. Overgrowth.
Sure.
But this is the problem. Spirits is really well lined up against decks that are casting like 3 mana spells on turn 3.
Why is Mike at 17 according to this? That doesn't make sense.
Fetch Shock.
He didn't fetch Shock, that he fetched.
No, fetch and then played Breeding Pool Shock, right?
No, maybe. Well, okay, well, I'll take his turn. That's fine. Cody falling to 14. Mike at 17 currently. End of turn had a Rattle Chains there.
Almost forgot to attack. Then did.
Solid. Reminiscent of Dan's sweet Gwaif attack.
Oh, yeah, last week.
That was great, wasn't it?
Good times.
That was great. So we see Cody on tap here, now with access to 7 mana on turn 3.
With 2 lands in play.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's not bad. And this is where, maybe you side out Spellqueller in this matchup.
Yeah, because
and this is learning on the fly, right? I guarantee you Mike has played this matchup maybe once before, if that.
With Banned Spirits.
Yeah.
He's played against the deck, I'm sure, multiple times.
Yeah.
But specifically with Banned Spirits, sure.
Sometimes you need to see these cards and how they line up in the matchup. It's not easy to just theorize and understand it.
I'll make another 6 mana here.
Primal Command.
And I will do this to you. So we'll pull up Primal Command. This might actually just be the game.
Well, we'll see. He doesn't have like the board that's going to lock him, but I agree it's very awkward.
There is Primal Command there. So the 2 modes that he is choosing are going to be put target non-land permanent on top of its owner's library, and search for a creature. Mike is going to, in response, flash in a Geist of St. Traft.
That play never gets old. I love that play in the Spirits deck.
Flashing
that is
Geist?
so good.
It's pretty sweet.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
It's pretty sweet.
Geist already had Hexproof, so you didn't really need to play around a lot of like sorcery speed removal, but it just feels good. They're like, maybe he'll spell queller me, and then you're like, nah, Geist 6 you next turn. Feels really good.
8 you, including this option starting in play we know about. So,
but Mike did demonstrate that he's sometimes willing to leave the Rattle Chains behind, just in case.
Sure. So, this is the board Mike's going to want, because he gets to attack here for, like we said, 8 damage. He's going to have to.
But this is the last turn that you get to do stuff.
Okay, looks like actually Cody chose to gain life.
Perhaps signaling that he has an Eternal Witness in his hand already. So this looks like a Draw Skull Captain coming down.
That's pretty good. No, that's a Steal of the Godhead.
All right. Cody going to take a read of that one.
We will do the same. Do you know what that card does, Cody?
I believe it gives it lifelink if it is white and unblockable if it is blue.
You're correct, sir.
And an unblockable Geist is probably the biggest nightmare you can possibly stare down in Modern.
Yeah.
I mean, there's definitely board states where you just lose, but there's nothing.
Plus, it also gets plus one for each color.
Yeah, for each color. So +2/+2 unblockable and lifelink. It's
an
just
attack for 10.
so demoralizing to see that you no longer have a way to interact with this Geist.
I
think Primal Command makes him
Mike gaining 4 life here. Looks. Our update is he's at 11, or he's at 21 to Cody's 11 here. So,
okay.
This is how Mike wins.
Yeah.
Cody at this time has 3, 6, 9, 11 mana. So this is the sweet spot for Genesis Wave, and a wave for 8 is possible here.
Yes.
So if he's got
that can end the game.
For sure.
Sometimes all it takes is dork, Crater Hoof, the game ends. It's a very scary place to be.
Curious that Cody opted for the gain life clause. It seems relevant now that he's 11 instead of 4.
But had he searched,
you'd have Ewit in his hand. At this
point. It is interesting, and
I'm curious why he opted for that.
He's played the deck a lot. I assume that there is a very good reason for it.
Yeah, he has his reps in with this deck for sure.
And it's possible that he thinks maybe he can buy himself another turn.
Sure. Bird of Paradise is not nothing big here to be out of the board. He did play his land this turn, so he will not have access to Nykthos.
Still representing a fairly large range of plays. Maybe he has Hornet Queen and he's just really slow rolling it. Doesn't seem likely. But
pretty sick slow roll.
if you want the tilt value, this is how you run out a Hornet Queen against the Spirit deck.
Sure. We know he has. Looks like he has Ewit in his hands. That's going to get back the Primal Command. Yeah.
Well, the birds blocks.
Yeah. I mean, so the option he has here, he would if he'd like. He could Primal Command, put Steel of the Godhead on top of your library, and you shuffle.
That's what I was thinking
Just
as well.
get rid of that because that card makes your life a nightmare.
Yeah.
Mike only playing 2 copies of Steel of the Godhead, so it's not a card he's going to have access to all the time. Let's see what he does here. He says, I'm going to Primal Command.
That is one of the neat features of Primal Command is that
Just get rid of any card.
it can get rid of some problematic permanents.
Yeah.
Looks like Cody's just going to gain life
He's
again.
going to gain life and search a creature. So he's going to... Well, he could get Crater Hoof here. No, it gets Ewit. Okay. So Cody gains another 7 life, going back up to 18, and fetches out for himself a second copy of Eternal Witness.
He has 1 mana floating.
Yeah.
So he might be able to play a 2-drop here.
He has
maybe
2 mana floating technically if he wants.
True. He might be able to sudden shock something down.
Yeah, he has Sudden Shock.
This would be a good time to get a Rattle Chains.
Sure. I mean, you're not getting the Geist ever, so.
Looks like he does have Sudden Shock. Yeah, he's going to Sudden Shock the Rattle Chains. That does, hamper Mike in the sense that he can't flash in any more threats outside of the already flash creatures like Spell Queller, which is pretty bad now at this point in the game, or any number of other things. He looks like...
There's Mike's 4th land.
I think Mike has Wrath in hand.
Not a bad spot. I don't know how amazing it is. I mean, you're going to read your own Geist.
It's pretty
right?
bad.
It's
I
a
just
little
think
awkward.
you don't have a chance to cast
Geist
it
is
here.
just good.
Well,
Selfless
now you
Spirit
can cast
is
Wrath
even-
next turn.
Yeah. So it's pretty good here. I'll come across for another 8 damage. Do you want to block? Probably not.
Presumably no.
Cody falling to 10. Mike going to 24.
25.
25, yeah, I was going to say. All right, 25. So, yeah. And Mike just passing back again.
Cody
So-
just really wants... Oh, he found
Cody
Nykthos.
found... Well, all he has in hand right now is the Witness, I think, right?
So he can go... How much mana can he make this turn? Because if he can make enough, he can go Witness, Primal...
3, 6, 9, 10, down to 8, up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so up to 17, 18, 19, I think 20 is what he's made.
So he can go Witness, Primal, Craterhoof. Is Mike dead?
That involves tapping both his Arbor
Okay.
Elves and his Bird.
So no.
So the 1 Witness gets to untap, which means that he'd have plus 1, 2, 3, 4,
6.
5, 6, so 8 and 11, so no, 19. So no, Mike would not die this turn to a Crater Hoof attack, unless he's able to get away without
With only 1 Arbor Elf?
tapping these Arbor Elves. Yeah, I don't think he has Wave in his hand. That was the problem.
Well, I'm
Oh, he
saying
doesn't
you
need
Primal
Wave, yeah.
Command, get Craterhoof,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So depending on how he can tap his creatures...
Oh, now he's opting for... Okay, interesting. All right, sure. Deciding to go for put Godhead on top of your deck and I'll fetch a creature. I think Cody's doing the math for Craterhoof.
Yeah,
You see him counting there.
I did see him counting.
He could be thinking that. Well, let's see. So the Nykthos would have given him how much mana? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Just another Ewit.
So he spent 3, so he's down to 4. So he has 4 mana floating currently.
It would be a really heads-up
No,
play.
that's wrong because he now also went ahead and played that. So.
Heads-up play from Cody
Maybe I was
would
wrong.
probably be to try and get Mike off of 4 lands.
Yeah. Well, there's the Ewit again. So Primal Command.
I actually think if this was the plan...
Searching his deck and making Mike shuffle.
I honestly think if this was the plan, you put 2 lands back on top. Search and then gain.
Sure. He gets his final copy of Eternal Witness out of his deck. So no
Because
more of
Mike
those
at
coming.
2 mana, drawing his 3rd land. You can even make him shuffle instead of gain life, because at that point you're not under
Yeah,
a huge threat.
it's a guarantee, or to potentially say no 3rd land for you, even which is
Yeah.
even more backbreaking.
And then suddenly you just have you have the last Ewit still to win the game, right?
There it is. Get in for 2. I like it.
As it is now, it's
Strong finish to a strong turn.
This is going to be really rough. For
I mean,
Cody.
Nykthos next turn.
Going to get Wrath away here.
Yeah.
Presuming that is what Mike has in hand, and I could be wrong. I might have spotted this wrong.
Yeah, it's possible.
We'll know. I mean,
it's going to happen this turn or not, obviously.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if he doesn't, Nykthos next turn makes him what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
Enough.
8, 9, 10, 11 mana on its own.
yeah,
It's
enough.
pretty good.
Enough. You'll have enough to kill him with Craterhoof at that point.
Yeah.
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 Craterhoof giving +7/+7 to everybody,
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's okay.
and everybody attacks but 1 Arborel.
It's not bad.
It's okay.
I accept. So we'll see what Mike. I mean, he's thinking long and hard about it, so he might not.
How about we bring up the Hooffather?
Sure.
Some people haven't played against that card.
Absolutely.
You know? And this is my favorite card in the green deck.
Okay.
That creatures you control get trampled too. So they're just
Yeah.
it's
Bird
roughy.
looks like.
Oh dear.
Okay. Mike attacked with everything and only bird blocked. He didn't decide to go for the Geist block, which I mean makes sense. Selfless Spirit just gets to. Well, I mean, okay. Well, I mean the good thing is here he can sudden shock that Selfless Spirit.
Doesn't need to even.
Doesn't need to.
If he has the Ewit
Mike can't
into
even
Craterhoof,
respond to that,
the game is over, right?
Well, yeah, of course. We know he has Ewit.
And even I think he can Ewit,
I mean, Mike's able to spell quell.
but then the sudden shock. Well,
Only
I
does
guess
two.
it's Selfless Spirit.
only does 2 damage.
Oh, true.
Plus, you can't respond to Selfless Spirit because it's got
True.
split second. But I mean, yeah,
Oh,
if
Burning Tree.
Mike's card here is Spell Queller, that's going to be huge.
Yeah, this is.
If it's not, it's going to be
Oh,
bad.
dear.
That's not Spell Queller at all.
That's not what we wanted.
Maybe he's playing Fog.
If you're a fan of Mike, you cross your fingers right now and hope he's brought in a one of Fog and he
Holy
has it
Day
in
maybe
hand.
even could have lots of Fog options in this sideboard. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do this. Looks like he's going to pad his life to a little more, go to 17. Looks like Cody was at 6, so I think he's at 13 now then. Yeah, looks like we had our life
Interesting that we're just gaining life a lot here.
Yeah, he's getting a lot of life this
Yeah.
game, especially if he's doing this.
Yeah.
Like, why not just, insurance plan yourself, put Breeding Pool on top of your deck in case you have some sort of answer?
Well,
And-
we can safely assume he probably doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah. Mike gives him the handshake. That's gonna be game 3 to Cody. So Cody takes us down in 3. So congratulations to him.